the Keystone Stitcher. Welcome. Today is a very special edition of Flosstube for me. This is my 5-year anniversary. It is November 1st, and on November 1st of 2020, I recorded and uploaded my very first video. I was so nervous that I did not even put my face on camera. And it took me a few months before I was comfortable enough. I'm glad I did it that way. I was able to get over most of my nerves before I literally did a face-to-face with you. Today, I'm going to show you all of those finishes. And yeah, some are gifts, so I will have to insert pictures. And some are on the wall and they would be really hard to put back up. So again, I will show you pictures. But I have a huge stack right here of things that I can show you. So let's get into it. I uploaded my first video on November 1st. And between November 1st and January 1st, I had 3 finishes. First one was Follow Your Dreams. I stitched this 2 times. So once I stitched it on an orange fabric, and once I stitched it on the purple. This one, the orange one, was hand dyed by Rwanda, and I don't think I have a picture of that one, but this is the one I did in 2020. This was on a purple, I pictured this plus, and I don't recall the name of that one. The red floss that I used to get the variegation in his sweater and in the letters is Dracula by Color and Cotton. So that's number 1. Number 2 is this flamingo. My youngest granddaughter was obsessed with the flamingos, and she asked me to stitch this for her. So this is from the book Designer Cross Stitch Projects by the Cross Stitcher, and I used fabric dyed by myself, and it's a 16 count. This next one is called Star Wars Kids. This is by Embroidery, the number 4 Kids. You know what? I think I'm going to put the name of all the shops on the screen because I have so many here. I don't know that I can put everything in the description box. I will try, but I think putting it on the screen that way, if there's something you want to look up, you can. So, Star Wars Kids. This is from Etsy. And I think the fabric was just a plain white Aida. And my grandson still has it up in his room. He has it over his bed. Okay, so then we get into 2021. And I have 14 finishes for 20. I have 14 finishes in 2021. The first one is the Chopping Mall. This is by the Witchy Stitcher. The fabric is an 18 count Stormy Skies by Garibaldi. She was on Etsy, but I think she's moved to her own website now. But just type in Garibaldi's and you will find it. And I finished it on 16-inch stretcher bars. We found that this was for my grandson, and he was little, and we found that that was better. We didn't have to worry about the glass on the frame breaking. This next one is Yoga Dachshund, and it's by Little Room in the Attic, which is on Etsy. The fabric is hand dyed by Rwanda. And the box that I put this on, so I use sticky board, your non-acid sticky board, to mount the dachshunds on. Then I used hot glue because I figured she could take that off if she wanted to at some point in the future. Hot glued that down to the top, and then I used a piece of self-adhesive felt and put it in the bottom. So it's actually lined. And she still uses that. The next one is one I can show you. And I'm reframing this so I don't have it laced, but this is One Afternoon by Carla Gerard. It was charted, and I believe it's still charted by Artisy. So this is One Afternoon. This is on 18 count Aida, and this is going to be hung up behind me, so that empty wall you see, this is what's going up there as soon as I finish lacing it. So that was my first full coverage finish once I started Flosstube. Okay, so the next one is Little Panda. This is by Cross Stitch Patterns, and they spelled the word patterns with 1 T. On Etsy, I did this on Opalescent, Picture This Plus Teal, but I don't recall the exact name. This next one is Linen and Things Band Sampler. This is by Fox and Rabbit. I did this on 18 count Ocean by My Vintage Needle Arts on Etsy, and I stitched the entire thing in B5200. The next one is a little Mill Hill. This was a gift I received from my daughter-in-law, and this is Greeting Santa. This is, I did everything using all the kit supplies, and then I attached some fabric to the back, and I just used a piece of thread to put him up. So that was that one. The next one is a Christmas dachshund, and again, this was a gift. Every year I do a small ornament for my youngest grandchildren. The older two decided they had enough. And this is by Patterns Cross Stitch on Etsy. And then I did a very large project. This is a Plants vs. Zombies. I was doing this in Afghan, and then it was taking so long, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to cut it up and I'm going to quilt it. So I cut up the Afghan fabric, quilted it all together, and gifted it to my grandson. Some of the Plants vs. Zombie characters I charted myself, and some were purchased by Lab Pattern on Etsy. And then we have the Mario sampler. This is the entire Mario sampler. It is, I don't have the name of the store. I will look the name of the store up. Anyway, I took the Mario with the tree and I changed him to green, kind of altered him a little bit because my grandson was obsessed with Luigi. And so this is the part of that sampler that I stitched. And then I did a bookmark. I did Hermione. It's on Moon Glow 18 count Picture This Plus. The shop is currently closed, but it was called Cross Stitch Art on Etsy. And then I had another full coverage finish. This is Stevie Ray by Wendy Kathleen. It's right out there on my hallway. This is on a light blue Unknown Ada. It was a 14 count because I wanted that larger. The stitch count was kind of small and I wanted it to make a statement on the wall. So I did do it in 14 count. And this was a Haid. Okay, the next one is a free design by Cyber Stitchers. I stitched it on Jade by Picture This Plus, and this is a dragonfly. And we were taking this one and another one you're going to see. We were taking the pieces, like I said, I have everything on my wall with 3M strips, and when this came down, it was in a cheap frame, and the frame fell apart. So trying to get it off, we broke the frame. So that's my free dragonfly. And I know this was a hand-dyed fabric by Dyer. I don't, what was the name of the shop? I don't recall. And then, like I said, I don't remember this floss here, but they were both hand-dyed. Okay, the next one is And a Forest Grew. So this is my version of And a Forest Grew. This is by Rosewood Manor. I stitched it on an 18 count Alchemy by Picture This Plus, and I changed the quote. So inside the tree, I put two quotes. I kind of put them together because they kind of went together, by Henry David Thoreau. The first one reads, I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to find only the essential facts of life and see if I could not learn what it had to teach me. And not when I come to die, discover that I had not lived. And the second part of the quote by him reads, strange that so few come to the woods to see how the pine lives. And then in the little tiny cartouche down there on the bottom right, I have a quote by David Farr, when you go into a forest, anything can happen. So I really didn't want to put my initials on it or anything like that, and those quotes spoke to me. I've spent so much time in the country and in the forest that one spoke to me. Okay, now we move into 2022, and I had 20 finishes. The first one was probably the most complicated full coverage I did, and when I started it, I was doing it just as a PDF, but not in Pattern Keeper. And then I finally broke down by Pattern Keeper, and it made it so much easier to do. This is Nerthus. This is on a 20 count Ada. The artwork is by Megan Majeski, and you may have heard me mention her before if you've been following along. I'm doing another one of hers called Death in the Garden. This is charted by Unconventional X Stitch. The next one I did is, I think it's called North Pole Cookies, or it's Milk and Cookie Company. I don't recall which one. It's by Spooky and Steve. I did this on a 16 count earthen, and I changed all the colors. I stayed with what they were. So I stayed with kind of a grayish color, a green color, and a red, but I used fancy floss that I'd had lying around here. So I can tell you that this is Dracula by Color and Cotton. It is my favorite, but I can't tell you what the other colors are. So it was just things that I picked up. So I put this on sticky board, and then this is a piece of sticky board with some fabric, and then I just have some magnets so I can hang this from my fridge. So that was Milk and Cookie Company. The next one is called Penguin with Gift, and it's by the Green Terrace on Etsy. I stitched that also on 18 count Moon Globe by Picture This Plus. Then I stitched Santa's Secret. This is a Dimensions. I put it on an 18 count Aida, and you can see a little difference here. I could not stand working with the metallic, so there's no metallic, which meant I also didn't do his glasses. But I think it came out really nice. The next one is Nightingale, and I stitched this and had this up for a while, and then a friend of mine really liked it, and so I just gave it to her. This is called Song for You or Nightingale. I don't recall which one. It was by Fiddlesticks AU, and this was one that I won from Alice on Etsy. Alice on Instagram. She gave away a handful of these to support Ukraine. I did this on an 18 count that I dyed myself. And let's see what the next one is. Excuse me. Oh, the next one is Luigi's Mansion. This is by, and I'll probably butcher the shop's name, Pippa's de Finel, and the fabric, I don't recall what it was. The next one is Dahlia by Donna Cooler from Donna Cooler's Book of Flowers. And this is another one that when we were taking it down to move it, we shattered the frame. So the only change, this is on a fabric I dyed myself with teal from RIT. I use liquid RIT whenever I dye fabric, unless I'm using food, but if I'm using dye, it's RIT. And I ended up giving up on the back stitch in the flower. It was driving me crazy. So, but that's my Dahlia. The next one is a Ghostbuster logo, and I changed that. I need this. I changed that one to add a Christmas hat, and I gifted that to my grandson. That was his Christmas ornament that year. This next one is Daisy Blue. This is by Joe Lynch. I stitched this also on an 18 count white Aida. And I actually started this in January of 2022 and finished it on May of 2022. I really enjoyed that one. This next one is Christmas Barn. This is the artwork is by Julia Lucas Designs, and it was in the 2019 Just Cross Stitch Christmas magazine. So there's the Christmas Barn. And I used a little piece of ribbon. I also put some felt, no, this one's fabric. Put some fabric on it so I can hang that on my tree. And then the next one we have is Christmas Bullfinch. This is from the 2017 Just Cross Stitch. And I stitched this on Barnwood 18 count by Picture This Plus. Again, I bought a clearance spool of ribbon, so I have plenty of that red ribbon, and then I used more of that fabric to put on the back that I had on the Milk and Cookie Company. So that was that one. And then I had a Mill Hill Chick, and my plan was to do this on fabric. This is an 18 count, and then stuff it so that it was more round. And I don't really like how I finished there's a couple spots here. So I tried to sew that together, but that's my little chick. And Maybe I'll get better at finishing, but I'm glad I didn't do it on perforated paper. And I just used a bit of cotton to give it some 3-dimension. Okay, and then the next one is a Harry Potter piece by Daily Magic Stitch. They're on Etsy. I stitched it on 18 count purple that I dyed myself and gifted that one to my granddaughter. The next one is Raven Moon. This is from the Just Cross Stitch Halloween 2022 edition. I did it on a piece of 16 count fabric flare Aida. And this one I used self-adhesive felt. And then I just propped this up in front of my one plant and had this on display for Halloween. Okay, the next one is Christmas Woodpecker, and I'll go back and find a picture of this. This I gifted to a friend for Christmas, and this is from the Just Cross Stitch 2024? No, 2022. Sorry. I'm like, how did I do 2024 when it's not 2024 yet? This next one is Mini Dia de Muertos that I did for my granddaughter. I did it on a 16 count Rain Aida by I can never say it. Here, right there, by that company. This one is a Haid, and the artwork is by Alexandra V. Bach. And she still has that. That was for my oldest granddaughter, and that is still up on display in her room. Then I did Pastel Reflections. This one is called The Blue Doorway. This is by Barbara and Cheryl. I did it on 18 count Easy Guide Aida, which I don't think I will ever use again. That 18 count was so scratchy. It literally left scratch marks on my skin. And so that one is this. Then I did Plague Doctor. This is by Buzz Bee Designs on Etsy. The fabric is from the sewing shop. It was a piece Kaylee sent to me when I purchased some other fabrics. Now we move into 2023, and I have 17 projects I finished. The first one is Colorful Sampler by Happy Mood Point on Etsy. And I'm going to have to look them up and put the name here because they've changed their shop name. I did this on a 16 count Aida that I purchased from To Die For Fabrics, and I don't recall the name of it. All right, the next one is Mini You Can Leave Your Hat On. This is a Heaven and Earth design. I was stitching this on 18 count Aida, and this is all the further I got before it became so pixelated and so badly charted. I did most of his chest, and I had a little section over here to do, and I couldn't stand it. So I cut it off, and I just stapled it. You can see I continued stitching here. So I stapled it to the back of a piece of canvas, and then because I didn't think about it, I had to paint the frame because you could see the edges. So when I thought of the canvas, I didn't think about needing room to wrap it. So that's my version of the mini. This next one is Fantail Bird. This is by Whoopie Cat on Etsy, and she has plenty of these. So if you like this one, go check it out. So this is Fantail Bird. And all that white in the design was stitched. I didn't stitch it. It's on an 18 count piece of white Aida, and all of the colors here are the called for colors. And then this border you see, this is just the fabric. I don't typically mat my pieces. So the next one is Mulan, and I turned this into a pillow for my granddaughter. Not only was she obsessed with flamingos, she was obsessed with Mulan for many, many years. This was by Xana Cross Stitch on Etsy. She no longer offers this. I don't know if you can reach out to her and ask her. I'm assuming maybe Disney got in touch with her and said, yeah, no. So I did it on 18 count. Did I tell you that? Just a plain white. This next one was one I did these two in the same day. This is a spider, and it came from the Just Cross Stitch Halloween 2022, and it was hanging down from another part of the design. There, it was split into two charts, and I just wanted the spider. And again, some self-adhesive felt. And then the next one that I did at the same time, the same afternoon, is called Boo Watch. It's from the 2020 3 Just Cross Stitch magazine, and there were more things around it, and I just did the tree and that bat, these little bats right here, and then the ghost. And again, self-adhesive felt. That's one of my favorite things to use, is self-adhesive felt. And the corners, if they don't stick real well, I just put a piece of hot glue back there and we're good. All right, the next one is European City. I turned this into a book sleeve and sent it to a friend of mine who was suffering from, she had been just diagnosed with, excuse me, with breast cancer. She is free and clear now. She her father was in the military. So this is a scene from an area in Germany in the town that she grew up in. So that's what I did for her. I then did my largest full coverage stitch count wise that I have finished so far was Alice and Snow White. And my granddaughter has this, my youngest granddaughter. This is by Jasmine Beckett Griffith. It was charted by Heaven Earth Designs. And I did it on a 16 count platinum. So when all done, this was just about 3 feet tall with the frame. Then I did Christmas Squirtle. This is a Pokemon design. This is by So Geeky UK. I put this on an 18 count Sterling Picture This Plus. And I was able to start and finish that all in one day. Then I did the Christmas Bunny. And so this one went to my granddaughter. So the Squirtle and the Bunny were that year's ornaments for my grandchildren. This is by Floreen, R-E-E-N Studio on Etsy, and I did it on a 16 count Stellar by Picture This Plus. And then we have October by Paula Vaughn. This comes from the book A Quilt for All Seasons. And years ago I stitched this, but I stitched it on white and I didn't like it. So I gave it away, and now I stitched on 18 count Barnwood. And this has to come out now because it's fall. That book is out of print, the Quilt for All Seasons, but you can still find it floating around on the secondary markets from time to time. The next one is Mary. This is on 18 count Barnwood. It's from the Just Cross Stitch Christmas magazine, but I didn't write down what year. And so that's my Mary. And then I put it in a hoop that I stained. I don't remember. It could be chestnut. I have some English chestnut, so that might be English chestnut. And then I attached some felt to the back of the hoop to finish it off. And that's my Mary. Then we have the Reindeer Feed Sack. This is by Carriage House Samplings. I did it on an 18 count Haunted by Picture This Plus. And there's that. So I have a frame that I framed this. So this is on a piece of sticky board, and I have a frame that I can switch things out holiday wise that are this size. So this will be shortly going into that frame. So bring that up close. I think there was a mistake somewhere in this. Oh, you know what? It was a mistake in the chart. So this is lower than this. And I was extremely disappointed, and I wish I would have adjusted it. I wish I would have brought that one down to be centered. But that's my feed sack. Okay, and then we have Christmas Truck. This is by Demented Stitches on Etsy, and I did it on a 16 count that I dyed myself. And this one, instead of a wreath on my door at the entryway, I hang this in place. And did I use, I think I used Dracula on the truck. But that's my Christmas tree. Christmas truck. Then I did Advent Calendar with Animals. This is by Cute Patterns by Maria, right? Yeah. I did an 18 count Coastal by Picture This Plus. And the last animal I changed to be a flamingo because there were no flamingos, and there has to be a flamingo for my granddaughter. So she now has that to hang up in her room for Christmas to have an Advent calendar. Then my grandson came over here one day and decided to give me pointers on how to grow my channel. And his pointer was that I should do things that are popular, such as Fortnite and Minecraft and Pokemon. And so I decided to thank him and just acknowledge that I appreciated him sharing his knowledge, because he was 9, 10 years old at the time. And so I found on Etsy from Arcade Stitches, I found this small Minecraft, and I stitched this up in one afternoon and put it in a frame and gave it to him. And he still has that proudly displayed, because he knows that that was a thank you for helping me with my channel. The next one is Old St. Nick. This came from the 2023 Just Cross Stitch magazine. I believe this was December. Yeah, this was December. This was not the Christmas one. And I did this. This is by Franny Ritter Designs. And this is on a Picture This Plus, and I believe it might be earthen. And it was just a scrap I had lying around, but that's not a typical color that I buy, so I think it's earthen. I'll bring that in a little closer. I have this thing about Santas. So whenever I see a Santa, it depends. They have to be done just right, but yeah, I like Santas. All right, this next one took me forever to do. It was extremely, the pattern was on almost a laminated paper that you couldn't mark on, and it was double-sided, and it was about 3.5, 4 feet long. I want to say it probably wasn't quite that long, but it was, you know, the full length pretty much of my arm. And as I noticed that not only could I not mark on it, so I was having trouble getting lost, I also noticed that in the creases I was losing the symbols. So I put it away for a while until I could figure out how to get that converted over to a PDF. And this is 4 seasons. To the best of my knowledge, this is only available now as a stamped kit from places such as AliExpress. But this was by Dome, and it was sold by the Soda Stitch shop on Etsy. I did it on a 16 count that I dyed very lightly in blue, that I dyed myself, because I didn't want the ground to be real blue, but I wanted the effect of some sky behind it. This next one is a free design by magicalquiltsblogspot.com, and it is on a 20 count by the sewing shop, and I didn't write down the name of it, but it's a blue, right? It's different colors of blue because I do blue. I stitched the entire piece in 3371, and yeah, free design. So that one I have up. I love looking at that one. I really do. The brown with the black frame on the blue fabric, that's me. This next one is Pokemon Alphabet. It's by Bixo Stitch on Etsy. I dyed it myself, and it's a 20 count. Then I have the old sled, which came from the December 2023 Just Cross Stitch magazine, along with the Santa. And the frame here is by the Rusty Roof on Etsy. So this is a fabric I dyed myself because I wanted a blue sky. I wanted a wintry blue. I wanted it really on the cool side. So there's that. I'm going to put that over there. I kept my pattern, my pile in front of me from falling, but I'm afraid if I put it over there, it's going to fall. So we're going to put that there. This next one was a free design from where? From the Cross Stitcher? No. Yeah, crossstitch.com. And it's called Merry Christmas Dear. And it's perfect timing because I need to get this finished for Christmas. So this is a piece of, it's a piece of Picture This Plus, but I can't tell you what color. I didn't write it down. I think you can still get this. If you go to crossstitch.com, there's hundreds of free designs there. So I don't know if you'll be able to find that, but you might. And again, I use my very favorite red, and this is Dracula by Color and Cotton. So there's that one. The next one is Merry Christmas. What are we doing? No, that was that one. So the next one, I need to turn the page. Oh, the next one, I really thought I was going to turn off a lot of viewers with this, but it turned out a lot of people really enjoyed it. This is Beetle Pop. The artwork is by Lux Nova Studios, and it's charted by Unconventional X Stitch. And I dyed that fabric myself because that's not a full coverage piece. So that yellow is just all fabric. And that was an 18 count fabric that I used for that one. The next one I finished was a long dog. This is Resistance is Futile. I stitched this on a 20 count Aquarius Ada by Color and Cotton. And I used a limited special edition floss by hand dyed by Rolanda. Then the next one is Polar Bear Wishes. I believe this came from the 2023 Just Cross Stitch Christmas. And I put this on a piece of very old fabric that I'd saved a scrap of from XG Design. And I'm somebody that I can't really stitch with her fabrics. They smell lovely, but it causes me to have an allergic reaction. So I'm not sure what it is, but my eyes will water, and so I have to air these out for quite a while before I can work with them. And again, just some felt on the back. And then I did Gojo Saturo. This was an ornament I did for my granddaughter. I did it on 18 count jade, picture this plus. And then I did Bulbasaur. And I will have to put a picture in of that one. That one was for my grandson. I have one here that I did not list that I did this year, but we'll have to. So that one, I'm getting confused. I put the one for this year, never mind. I just had my pile a little confused here. So Pokemon ornament, I did the Bulbasaur. Again, I will have to look up. I didn't write down where that came from, so I will write down on the screen where that came from. Then I had what's called a simple ornament, and there was a group of 6. And this is mine. And this is, I'm not sure where I got that fabric. This is not a Picture This Plus. You can feel Picture This Plus. And so there are 6 of them. I'll put the website or the Etsy shop on the screen if they're still available. And so these next couple I don't have fully finished. They would be from this year. This first one is called Peaceful Path. And it's from the Just Cross Stitch magazine. And I did not write down which one. So this is Peaceful Path. When Joann's went out of business and had their sales, I tried to find a stretch canvas that would fit this, and I couldn't find one. So yeah, I'm gonna have to find something I can finish that on. So that was the first one. Then I did an anime inspired bookmark. It's by Pattern Design Studio. I did it on 18 count very light pewter and gifted it to my granddaughter. Then I did Home Sweet Haunted Home. And you know what? I forgot I had finished this until I started pulling these out, and I never finished this for Halloween. So this is from the Just Cross Stitch magazine, the Halloween edition 2023. And I did this on a scrap of printed fabric flare. So it is printed on one side and it's white on the other. So yeah. And then the next one that I have, I divided it up. So it was one kind of rectangular piece, and it was of these eggs. It was called Spring. And so I did these on Mystic by Picture This Plus because I wanted the edge to show. And I did them all with a piece of felt on the back. So that's one, and they're all different sizes. So we got the 2 small ones, got a piece of hair in there. And then we have the middle. So let me see if I can get the 3 different sizes so you can see what they are. So these are the 3 different sizes. There's 2 of these, and 1 of the large one. And those are by Mika Stitch on Etsy. And she no longer has these eggs, but she has other eggs in other color schemes. Okay, so the next one that I did is Eyes of the Forest. This is artwork by Ina Bedenko. I did it on 18 count that I dyed myself. And if you're asking why did I dye it, there's so many dark colors, I didn't want any of the white to show through. So I went ahead and dyed that with a purple, and that perfectly hides any white that might show through on those dark colors. So then the next one that I did is called Music Note. This will be my granddaughter's Christmas present this year. Now she plays guitar, electric guitar. She taught herself to play bass guitar, and she also plays the the clarinet in her marching band. So this was perfect for her. I try to tie in what they're into with that year with what I do. And this is Gengar. This is the one I forgot to write down, and I don't know how I did that. And so I will put on the screen this shop because I don't have it written down to know. This is Gengar, and there are instructions on how to turn that into an actual stocking, which I think I'm going to do. I think I'm going to go ahead and make that a stocking and maybe stick a couple pieces of Jolly Rancher or something in it that he likes. And then the next one will be a Christmas gift for my daughter-in-law this year. So the youngest two's mother. She's obsessed, and I know she doesn't watch my videos. So the kids do. They won't tell her. So this is the office. And let me just check here. I did this is by Stitch Area on Etsy, and I did it on 18 count Whimsy by Picture This Plus. So I'll bring that in and show you. This was extremely simple to do. It worked in Pattern Keeper except for any background. So like these lettering, the background around the snowman, that's not in there. So for example, this, all the gray and black is done, and then you just go to the PDF and do the lettering. But yeah, it did work in Pattern Keeper, which was really, really nice. So that one will be for her. The next one I finished is a Dimensions. This was gifted to me, which, thank you. This is Feasting Frenzy. And didn't I finish it? Okay, I finished it this year. Yeah, I didn't realize I was in 2025. Yeah, Peaceful Path was 2025, so I have 13 finishes so far this year. And that's Feasting Frenzy, if I can get the glare off of it. So I did this on a piece of fabric I dyed myself. And there's that. I also did Snowflake Serenity. I have these confused here. No, I showed you Snowflake Serenity. No, did I show you Snowflake Serenity? I think I have these confused here. No. All right, Snowflake Serenity. I still haven't laced the back of this, but this is Snowflake Serenity. This model, this is from Just Cross Stitch Christmas 2023. And the model was stitched on a white, but I didn't think, this is a very pale blue, and I didn't think it showed up all that well. And I wanted it to be like a night scene. So I used Barnwood 18 count Picture This Plus. And then my frame comes from the Rusty Roof on Etsy. So there's Snowflake Serenity. Don't fall. Then I did Sparrows by Bossy Threads. I used the floss, but I replaced the fabric with an 18 count Dear Lisa Frank by thesewingshop.ca. Then I did a Jim Shore Santa and Cardinal. And this is Santa and Cardinal. I don't think it really matters. And so yeah, I haven't cut that out. It's all beaded, it's all done, but it's just not cut out and finished. And then I did How Snowflakes Are Made. And this is, I put this on a piece of 18 count Pandora by the Stitching Shop, and the shop name is on the screen. So, are you curious how many finishes I've had in 5 years? I've had 78 finishes. That's insane. I think back and I've been stitching for more than 30 years. How many things did I actually stitch? It's got to be in the hundreds. Hundreds. But yeah, so in 5 years I did 78. I'm hoping to have 2 more done this year, but you know, that would only be because I went into January, you know. So that is, oh, you know what? I was going to do a giveaway. Okay, so I had to, wasn't prepared with a word. So since the last piece that I finished is how snowflakes were made, let's use the word snow, S-N-O-W. And because this is 5 years, I really wanted to do 5 giveaways. So what I'm going to do is the first person that I draw, everybody use the word snow if you'd like to be entered. And the first one that is drawn, and I'll do it live on camera, I will give a $15 gift card. The next 4 will get $10 gift cards. And I went and looked online yesterday. I can do a gift card to Unconventional X Stitch. I can do a gift card to Artisy. And I can do a gift card to Contemporary Cross. I know those 3. I can also purchase a gift card through Etsy. So if you'd like to buy some stuff on Etsy, I think, you know, a $10 gift card, you could probably buy a couple nice things. So use the word snow if you made it this far, and I will draw, you know what, I'm going to give everyone a chance to watch this. So I will draw this on December 1st instead of the 15th. And yeah, that's what we'll do there. So thank you for following along. Thank you for supporting my channel through these past 5 years, helping my channel grow, making me feel welcome. I hope you enjoyed this. And so I'm going to say goodbye for now, and I'll see you soon. Bye.